What are some of the geopolitical reasons for being involved in what's going on in Israel? There's a lot of questions along these lines when talking about how much the United States should be involved with places like Ukraine or in Israel or other various places around the world and skirmishes that we have our hands in a little bit, whether it's our hands, whether it's our finances, whether it's our weapons sales, whatever it is. Why should we be in any of those places? Well, each one may have its own reason why the United States has a vested interest in being there. What is Israel's? Why should America be involved in what's going on in Israel? What's the geopolitical advantage of being involved with the situation in Israel? And that's a question that's asked by this young man at a Young America's Foundation presentation. And check out the answer that he gets. But before we watch this clip, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Watch this.
Hi, my name is Miles. I'm from Oklahoma State, and I had a question about U.S. support for Israel. So, given that the U.S. doesn't necessarily have a true direct cultural partner in this war, U.S. being underpinned by Christian Western values, Israel by Judaism, and the Arabs by Islam, what, other than for the sake of tradition of support over previous decades, would be a geopolitical or other reason for American citizens to take interest in the U.S. government supporting Israel or taking any side in this conflict?
Yeah, absolutely. That's very important. In the first place, the whole Middle East is authoritarian dictatorships, except for Israel. And so the United States fought these long, useless, stupid wars in Iraq and Afghanistan to establish Western-style secular republics in Iraq and Afghanistan that would be a light to the Muslim nations and help them to pacify the wider region. That was the whole George W. Bush idea. And it was wrong-headed for a variety of reasons, one being that these were Islamic states that had no democratic tradition, no interest in living in a secular republic. It was doomed from the start, the whole thing. But there is actually a Western-style secular republic in that region, and that's Israel. And it is the only state in that area that does share those values. I don't know that you're going to find really, quite aside from the propaganda that's become fashionable since October 7th, 2023, I don't know that you're going to find much daylight between the actual values of Judaism and of Christianity in terms of morality and so on. So that's actually very different from Islamic morality in terms of polygamy, child marriage, all these other things that Islam sanctions. But in any case, quite aside from that, you have the fact that they're both republics, that they both are free societies. You have the fact that they both face the same enemy, because Hamas and Hezbollah, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, they all have the same ideology, the same beliefs, 100%, as Al-Qaeda that hit us on 9/11, as the Islamic State that has been active in the United States. I was actually targeted in the first ISIS attack on American soil. They didn't get me, but they tried in 2015 in Garland, Texas. And those people hold to the same ideology as Hamas and Hezbollah. So I think that it would be short-sighted to say, well, that has nothing to do with us, because once Israel is destroyed, then they'll go after the great Satan. You know, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Ayatollah Khamenei talks about the great Satan and the little Satan. Many other Iranian officials do. America is the great Satan and Israel is the little Satan. Now, this is very important language. It's not just that he's saying the great bad guy and the smaller bad guy. He is saying something very involved with Islam, because in Islam, you have the pilgrimage to Mecca. Do you know about the pilgrimage to Mecca? You got to make the pilgrimage to Mecca once in your lifetime if you can do it economically. And when you go to Mecca, what do? You have to do these various prescribed rituals that are involved in the pilgrimage. And one of them is you go to these big rock formations that are in Mecca, and you throw rocks at them, and they are called the great Satan and the little Satan. There's a big rock and a littler rock, and you throw rocks at them to signify your rejection of evil. Okay? So what the Ayatollah is saying is that to fight against Israel and the United States is a sacred act, is a holy act that involves a basic element of Islam in rejecting evil. And so once they destroy the little Satan, we would be short-sighted and naive to think they're not going to come after the great Satan. And you might think, oh, well, sure, but we're huge and they're not, and we could beat them easily. Well, I'm not so sure that that's true anymore with the Biden regime running things and the state of the military the way it is. But even aside from that, they can kill an awful lot of Americans, even without destroying the entire country or toppling the government. That would be very easy, and I would like to see that happen. So I think that we need to stand with all of the states that are threatened by the same jihad that we are, and that includes Israel. It's not limited to Israel, but it includes Israel.
Thank you.
Well said. When the United States has the same enemies as Israel, as it does in many instances, in fact, probably most instances, those who hate Israel also hate the United States. So supporting Israel in their war against these regimes is helpful to the United States as well. Because if they had their way and they could get past Israel and they could destroy Israel, America is next on the agenda. Let's not kid ourselves. Right? The same forces that would love to topple Israel would also love to topple the United States. So having Israel do the dirty work, for lack of a better term, and deal with these jihadist forces, these radical forces in the Middle East, that is one less group that has access to the United States in the long run. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. If you really want to stay in touch, connect with us on Instagram as well. Pinchas Taylor, @Pinchas Taylor. Love to stay in touch. All the best.